Hey, this is Joe, and in this video we're going to have a chat, a very one-sided chat since I'm the one talking, about why we do personal growth and healing work. So my videos lately, for a while, my videos and blog posts and pretty much everything I do have been focused on personal growth and on healing, largely my own healing work that I'm doing and the changes kind of going on in my life and the healing work I've been doing and all the books I've been reading about it, and all of that. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, you'll know about some of the things that have been going on that have involved the need for a lot of healing for me, for myself, and for my family. And so, why do we do this work? I mean, that's a thing that's come up for me personally, and it's come up in when I have been seeing clients, when I was seeing clients, with them as well. It's like this resistance to it at times. And so I thought in this video we could explore that a little bit and I could share some of my thoughts about that. So why do we do this work? Some of us seem to be more drawn to it, and some of us are very resistant to it. And I think some of us, I know with me, I go back and forth. There's times when I'm like really gung ho and into it, and other times I'm like, why do I have to work so hard all the time? It can seem really hard and heavy and overwhelming, and I find that I can get resentful about it anyway. So here are some of my thoughts. My thoughts are, to sum them up quickly, and I'll talk about them a bit at length probably, are that we have to do this work at some point being either in this life or after this life. We can have generational trauma that we're working on. The way I talked about it, the way I talked to somebody about it at one point is that it's harder to do this work when we're in physical form, and so it's like you get karmic bonus points. My thoughts about karma are, it's not like immediate retribution, like you do something, you don't hold the door open for someone, and then somebody hits you in the parking lot kind of thing. But it's longer term, it's more complex than that. It's simpler and more complex at the same time. So those are kind of my main ideas here. So we have to do this work, this healing work that we have, this personal growth work that we have. I believe, this is my belief, I believe that we are here in physical form in order to experience life, in order to grow and to learn. I think we probably have things that for some reason, for some currently unknown reason, while we're in the physical form, we decide there are things that we want to do. There are things that we want to learn, experiences that we want to have. This is my belief and understanding. If that doesn't ring true for you, don't take that on yourself. If you're like, I did not choose these experiences, I did not choose this trauma, I didn't, I'm not saying that you personally did. I feel like there are probably some experiences that I've had that I wanted to experience certain things and to learn certain things. And so we have to do the work at some point. And whether or not that is true, we have to do this healing work at some point. So these things have happened. However they happened, why ever they have happened. And we have to heal from them somehow. And so whether we do that work now, while we are in physical form, living our life, or we do that work while we're no longer in physical form, when we're in spirit, we still have to go through that healing process. That's my belief anyway. I believe in the continuity of life after death. I am a spiritualist minister, after all, so that's one of my fundamental beliefs there. And so my pragmatic side goes, well, might as well do the work now, because then I get to enjoy the benefits of it now while I'm alive in this physical form, because I'd like to have the nicest, most enjoyable life that I can, while enjoying the benefits of that healing work, of having done that healing work, not doing it like when I'm in spirit and don't really need to have done it for this lifetime. It won't benefit this lifetime anymore. So we have to do it at some point, which brings me to that conversation that I had. It was actually, I think, during a mediumship reading that I had gotten. the gist of it was the work that I'm doing right now, really important, really awesome. And, bonus of it is that because it's harder to do this work while we're in physical form, while we have kind of like the heavier energy of being in a physical solid state, rather than being in spirit, because it's harder to do it, it's like you get karmic bonus points. It's like you progress more, I guess, if you believe, if you buy into the idea that we are on this kind of journey, this spiritual evolutional journey. You kind of progress more on that journey if you do like the brunt of this healing work while you're in physical form, while it's harder. It's like doing extra credit on your assignment or a test. It's like you get a bit of extra credit or something, I guess. Kind of like that idea, I guess. I was always like tried to be an A student, tried to be first in class when I was in a school system that would let you know where you ranked in the class, which is probably not a good idea when it comes down to it. It definitely instills competition and competitive spirit, which may not be the best of things in education, but it does do that for me. Again, not the best of things, but I do like this idea of like, well, if I could get a bit further ahead, might as well get on with it. And then there's this idea of generational trauma. I don't know how much, neither of my parents are alive. So I can't ask them some of these questions. And my dad wouldn't tell me anyway. I actually tried to get him to talk to me about his life and his childhood and all of that while he was still alive, and he wouldn't do it. And I do have questions now about my mum's past and childhood, especially about sexual abuse and assault and that kind of thing, whether she ever experienced any of that, because I do wonder sometimes, especially with how she reacted to when I finally was able to tell her about some of my experiences, and so whether or not that she had similar experiences, or whether her response was just how people responded, based on how she grew up, basically. It wasn't a helpful response. It was like, well, this happens to people, you just got to get over it. No help was offered. I know that she experienced various kinds of pain and trauma and suffering in her life. I know certainly her parents did, probably their parents as well. Her parents were, her father was in World War II as a soldier, was captured he was a prisoner of war and managed to escape a prisoner of war camp. My dad was alive during World War II, was a young child. I know that there has been a lot of trauma in my family, lineage, and I believe that the healing work that I do to heal and repair from my own trauma helps to heal the generations that came before me, and also helps to heal the generations that currently are, coming after me and may or may not continue on beyond my own children. And that to me is very important work, to to do the healing work of my ancestors, for my ancestors, and for the people that might come after me as well. And so there's part of me that could resent that, to be the person to do the work for everybody else. And there's also part of me that feels somewhat honored to do it, to finally have the opportunity to do it, to have the skills and the resources and the tools to be able to do it. Whereas nobody before me has had that. They haven't had that opportunity. Just like my children have more resources than I did at their age. So, they're doing some of this work as well. Perhaps helping to repair and heal my own, generational trauma and that of their own ancestors. Who knows? But here we are. And so those are some of my thoughts about, why do we do this personal growth and healing work? right? Because we have to. We have to at some point. I suppose we could just ignore it forever, but it doesn't seem like a great idea. It gets louder and louder. If you don't do it, it just gets louder and louder, one way or the other, to get your attention. That can often come up through body pain, illness, that kind of thing. If you don't do it while you're alive in this physical body, you're going to have to do it when you're in spirit. That's my belief anyway. I mean, I could be wrong, and everybody who is ignoring the healing work they need to do could kick the bucket, could be a black void, nothing happens, and I guess they won't be able to be like, ha, told you so, Joe, because they're in the black void. But I figure might as well get the benefit of it now. And while it's harder to do it in the physical, I think it's worth it, because whether or not you do get, any extra credit when you're in spirit, you get the benefit of it while you're in this life. Plus, if we can help heal past pain and trauma from the generations that came before us and that come after us, I think that's a blessing that we can do. So I will leave that with you. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts and experiences are. I'll see you in the next video.